Kia ora, and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Constellations and All That. Today I have the pleasure of chatting with my colleague Chayanika all the way from India. Kia ora, Chayanika. How are you doing?
I'm great and namaste to everybody. I'm really excited and so grateful to you for inviting me for your podcast. And I really hope that today's podcast is like something to take away for people, for me, for you, for everybody. So I just actually leave it to the field to guide us. And maybe those words come out from my mouth, which needs to come out for people to hear. Yeah.
Beautiful. Would you like to introduce yourself? On some podcasts, people go through a whole list of people's credentials, and I like to invite people to share a little bit about who they are for the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah. So, nothing much about me, but it's just that I'm very passionate about alternative therapies. And since 2007, I've been learning and updating myself. My journey began with clinical hypnotherapy, and then there was no turning back and looking back. I did a lot of other modalities and still do because learning and education is just like an ocean. The more you dive, the more hungry you are to learn more. So I did constellations, inner child work, transpersonal regression, sound therapy, access bars, actually quite a few of them. And I'm also an international trainer for Heal Your Life, designed by Louise Hay. And now what I do, I integrate everything, whatever the client needs
Yeah.
or whatever is required that point of time. I think all the modalities are beautiful, but the modality which actually touches my heart is constellation and transpersonal regression therapy. And I would give more credit to constellation because here you just watch, you just observe, and things happen, and the field reveals the hidden dynamics, which is not possible for you to reveal on your own. So that is why I give more credit to constellation.
Brilliant, brilliant. Can you explain what is, did you say transpersonal?
Transpersonal regression therapy. Yeah. So this therapy is about taking your mind to that point in time, across space, from wherever the issues started. And it's possible, and it's like a light trance state. So your mind can take you to childhood time, or the time when you were in your mother's womb, or life between life, or past life. I just leave it for the client and also ask the client to just leave the mind open to take them wherever the mind needs to go for healing to happen. And it is like light trance state, so the subconscious is accessed, but again it is the client versus the client. It is
Mhm.
you versus you vis-a-vis your personality across lifetimes. So whatever the client knows, that is what comes out more subconsciously
Mhm.
and consciously.
And that would meld quite well with constellations, wouldn't it?
Yes, I do blend both of them. I
Yeah,
do that.
beautiful,
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful. So I asked the question, how did constellations meet you? That's usually how I ask it because I feel that constellations finds us. It's got its own energy, hasn't it? So how did constellations find you?
That's a very interesting question. So, when I was learning the modalities like clinical hypnotherapy and transpersonal regression and all that, there were two trainers, Mr. Yuval and Morgan. Mr. Yuval is no more. They chanced to come to Kolkata and they did the training at my center in Kolkata, which is called Self and Beyond. And that was when I learned this modality because it was happening at my psychotherapy well-being center. And when I did it, oh, my mind was just blown away. And all the things which I didn't even knew that point of time existed in me as issues started coming out. The field started revealing it.
Mm,
And my life actually started turning 360 degrees, and that too many times over. I can't even
wow,
explain what a person I was and who I have become now. All thanks to constellation work. Of course,
fantastic.
other modalities also, but constellation work is very close to my heart.
Yes, it definitely has the ability to change your life. Do a 360, like you say, multiple 360s.
Yes, yes.
When you're meeting people and you're describing constellations, how would you describe it to someone? Like for the first time, you're meeting somewhere, they say, "What do you do?" And you say,
There are various ways of describing it, but how I describe it is I say this is a very powerful three-dimensional transgenerational modality which has the power to change generations of sufferings into happiness, binding to bonding, and entanglement to connections. So, and because a lot of hidden dynamics of the family system is revealed. And when the hidden dynamics of the system comes into your conscious awareness, it is then that you can choose to come out of it. Until the unconscious does not come to the conscious, it repeats in your life and you call it fate. That is what Carl Jung says. So, whatever is there in the subconscious and unconscious starts coming into your conscious, and then you can choose to come out of it because family is destiny. But you can choose not to stay helplessly in your patterns and in your challenges, but consciously make a decision to come out of it. And that can only be done when you become aware about your hidden dynamics.
"Oh, I love that definition. Sign me up." Sometimes someone says it, they share it, and it's just in the way they share it. It's like, yeah, that feels really resonant. It's
Yeah,
beautiful, and that's why I asked that question
yeah,
because there are so many different ways to describe this.
absolutely.
I'm just saying we all have our own language around it, so it's yeah.
And there's no other modality which can reveal hidden dynamics the way the constellations does.
Mm, yeah, that's true. So you shared with me before we started recording that constellations is starting to take become popular in India. How long would you say it's been going? It's been alive in India.
So when I did Constellation in 2014. That point of time, I was the second batch of the trainers who taught us, and nobody else had done it as yet that point of time. And in Kolkata, my city, we were the first batch to do it. But now there are more trainers coming from outside India, and also there are trainers in India who started teaching it. So
Mm,
it is gaining popularity, and I do get clients who want to come to me only for constellation work. And I remember until a few years back, when I would talk about constellation, all that was like Latin and Greek to them. They would not understand anything.
mm.
What is she talking about?
Star
But
signs.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
going to give me an astrology reading. No.
right. Yeah.
Brilliant. And there's quite a bit of history in India too. So I guess with do you see much in the way of the colonization, that come up in your history with clients?
They do. And this I actually learned during my visits to Portugal and very recently Mexico when I watched the more senior constellators do it, Angwin, like, how she talks about history matters. And I learned
Mm,
from there how to bring it to my constellation work. And nowadays I do bring the history of India also into constellation work. And it
mm.
really goes very deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's important, isn't it? I remember in my training, my first training, my teacher said to me, "It's really important for you to know history."
absolutely.
Okay. And
Yeah,
yeah, over the years it is so. But
yeah.
I also have been lucky that there's always been someone that can put some light onto stuff whenever we're having a workshop or something. Have you seen the ripple effects of this within your family system? from things that you've done, what have you noticed within your own family system?
Okay, that's a very interesting question and a deep question for me because it's like opening up the Pandora box when you talk about
Hmm.
my family system. And one of the constellation which really ran very deep and which touched me a long time back when I was learning constellations, that time we would practice on each other also. What came out was I was very disconnected from my emotions. And my own constellation was happening. People from my family were representing in it, and they could feel intense emotions. And I, as the client, I couldn't feel any emotions. And it was a
Mm.
very intense constellation. Even people who were observing, who were representing, everybody started becoming teary and they felt very emotional. And I'm just wondering, why are they emotional? And again, it's my constellation, so why are they becoming emotional? But then that was a turning point. That constellation was a turning point in my life. I never knew the importance of feeling the emotions. And after that constellation, I started connecting to my emotions. I started feeling my emotions. And I never knew that emotions actually carried so much wisdom. And
Mm.
each emotion was just a label, but it was also carrying a very important message for me to understand. Why is that emotion coming to me? It is not good or bad. It is just an emotion. And I have to experience it. I have to feel it. I have to process it, get the message, and then release it. And I started understanding the importance of all this, which has really uh, brought a lot of changes in a good way in my life
Mm. Mm.
and also around the members of my family. Because when I started feeling emotions, I could understand their emotions also better.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah. And I
Wonderful.
could connect to them better.
Mm.
Before that, maybe the connection was happening, but it was more at a superficial level. But
Yeah.
then after that, it was a heart to heart connection. And I also realized how important it is to be authentic and genuine. And if you are angry, you are angry. And so what? You can change your behavior. That is up to you. But feeling an emotion, it's okay. Emotions, no matter whatever the emotion is, it is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's there to show us something, right? That emotion is trying to talk to us. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
angry or you're sad or whatever's going on. Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I see you've got a whole library behind you. I'm a bit like that too, but mine is scattered all around the place. But you've got a beautiful selection of books in that there. So that leads me to the question of, do you have favorite facilitators? And if so, why?
So I've actually met Bert Hellinger also. I in 2014, while I was learning constellation, I had a small group in India, and all of us decided, and he was old that time, and we just wanted to get his blessings, and we went all the way from my city, Kolkata, India, to Germany to
Mm.
meet him and understand what kind of work he does. We are practicing constellations, we do constellations, but how about meeting the person who's founded constellation work?
Well
And
done.
yeah, and it was a very beautiful experience for me because I got the chance to get my constellation done out of so many hundreds of people on the stage, between sitting between Bert and Sophie. So both of them,
Wow.
they were there.
Yeah.
They just asked us to raise our hands, whoever wants to get constellation done. And even from people who were raising their hands, some of them were just sent back because perhaps they were not ready for the constellation. And it's my good chance that I was selected and I was called upon the stage and I sat between both of them and I got my constellation done in Germany.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And that constellation was also a turning point in my life.
And at that point, he'd changed quite a bit? He was using more of the spirit mind. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that. It was his aura, which was just, I was just in awe of his aura and the very energy that he was radiating. It was like doing something to me. And he is like a person who understands without you even speaking anything about it, looking at your body language. Maybe he can read mind. I don't know. But like whatever happened there, is something which I can't even express in words. It's just an
Mm,
experience. And whatever issue I had that point of time, it left me after that. Just one single
fantastic.
constellation from him.
Mm. I've seen and I've heard of experiences where people have just sat with him and they've just looked at each other and then he said, "We're done."
Yeah,
And the other person goes, "Yep."
yeah,
And
yeah,
then no words have been expressed and no one's been on the field. It was just a complete silent energy exchange.
yeah.
Movement, whatever that was. Whatever that was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And my friends from India, they told me, Chayanika, you've just got your money's worth. You've got a constellation done from him. What else do you want? Traveling all the
Mm,
way to Germany and staying and being there for a week, for I think we were there for 10 days. And getting your constellation done. That's really something, they couldn't have dreamt of, I couldn't have dreamt of, and it happened for me. So I really feel I'm
mm,
very blessed and very graced in
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's Bert Hellinger. We'll put him aside. Apart from Bert Hellinger, do you have another favorite or any other favorite facilitators?
Yes, Yuval and Morgan, my trainers, they are my favorite facilitators, and learning from them has again been a blessing, and it has taught me a lot of things in a lot of depth. And not only that, my life has also changed again many times
Mm,
360 degrees because
mm,
of the constellations that happened for me while we were practicing or while we were called for demos. So a lot of things changed for us.
yeah, beautiful. And you were presenting in Mexico recently
Yeah,
as well.
right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where we got to meet in person. I had seen you online before, but that's where we got to meet in person.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Have you presented it before in another country?
So I've not presented before in another country, but I've done a few presentations online. Yeah.
Yeah.
And being in Mexico, I think again it was one of the best experience in my life going to Mexico because it was my solo trip this time. There was nobody else going to Mexico or Mexico as you call it. All the way from India, it took me almost 2 days to reach there. And then doing my presentation again, that was another uh, heart touching moment for me because the workshop was very well received by people. That gave me a lot of confidence, and I felt very happy and lucky actually, and
Mm,
fortunate and grateful to be able to do it in. And the kind of people that I had in my workshop, they were also good receivers. The field was helping me there. I Now if you ask me what did I did, I don't remember much, but whatever happened, it was more of a movement of a soul that happened there. Less words, but more constellations with movement of soul. My theme as a presenter was coming back home, rising in love with self. Yeah, that was my theme.
beautiful. And you emanate that as well, which is so, that's the thing that draws people to you as well. So
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you have some people have specialities in their constellations? Is there something that you see a lot of? Like, some people might specialize in domestic violence or relationship or
Yeah.
sexual abuse or something. Is there something that you specialize in, or you're more of the whole?
So I think I specialize more in self-love. So
Mm,
I do bring the elements of self-love in all the constellations that I do
mhm,
because self-love and universal love both are very connected. And love is the energy that drives constellation work too. The love
mm,
in constellation work is pure, non-punitive, non-judgmental, which drives the constellation, right?
mm.
And I think everything begins when you start loving yourself. And again, when you love yourself, you don't judge yourself. Your love has to be inclusive, where you open your heart and connections just start happening. So there is a lot of similarity between constellation work and self love.
beautiful. And love is the
Yeah.
answer.
And as Rumi says, out beyond ideas of good and bad, there is a field. Let's meet there. Something like that, Rumi says. So the field doesn't look at what is good, what is bad, who is victim, who's perpetrator. The lens is the same. It looks through the lens of love on everybody who's on the field, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it
absolutely.
is it is it is the love that drives the you. It's the most powerful unifying force that exists in the universe, and we have to bring that love inside us,
Yes,
and that is
absolutely.
what is self-love.
Do you totally agree with you there? Totally agree with you there. Do you have any examples that you could share that maybe that obviously don't cross anyone's boundaries or like not sharing anyone's details, but maybe an example of a piece of work that because the listeners and the viewers love that. They love to hear examples because then sometimes they go, oh, that's mine. That's
So there are many examples, and I do constellations as and how, depending upon the issue of the client, of course. But when I do self-love constellations based on self-love means accepting and embracing all parts of you. When you're not
mm,
able to accept and embrace parts of you, or when you exclude parts of you, then there is this somewhere the conflict of not loving yourself fully, wholeheartedly, right?
yeah.
So when I do constellation work, I could use elements such as heart and brain, or because I feel the longest distance that is ever traversed is from here to here, from the brain to the heart. And when you can come here, when you can arrive here, a lot of things change for you. So one of the constellation that I do is heart and brain. Where is your
Mm,
heart now and where is your brain now? Maybe also masculinity and femininity, because again, those two are the traits that you have, and an imbalance in those also brings about issues in your life. So there are
yeah.
many constellations which I weave around self love. It could be stages of development, or
Mm,
it could be as Eric Bern's transactional analysis theory, the parent in you, the child in you, and the wise adult in you, So I
mhm,
take elements around self-love, the theme of self-love. And when you talk about a specific constellation which I did for any client, and you want me to share that, very recently I did a constellation for a client, and she would be very sad all the time, no matter whatever was happening with her. And when I invited her for constellation work, and while we were doing it, as a hidden dynamics, what came out was that her mother had two miscarriages before her, before she
mm,
was born. And maybe she was not in the rightful place. And she had taken the place of the maybe the first miscarriage child, or the second one, who wanted to be born, who wanted to play around, you know, and do all the things which maybe she was doing, or
mm,
which as a live person would do. So when we did that, and she found her rightful place, and we could honor the siblings and give them their place, a lot of things started shifting in her space. So this is very fresh in my memory because I did it very recently. Yeah, so maybe I just shared that
mm,
with.
I mean, I can test to that. And in my family system, I have um, two brothers that didn't come earthside, and yeah, that was certainly putting some pressure on our family system for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was standing in the wrong place in my family because when well, particularly the first one was very traumatic for the family, the way that he passed. So nobody talked about it. And then the second one happened quite quickly. So for them, it didn't even happen. And then my sister and I came along, and yeah, and we were in the wrong place in our family system. So I get it. It makes a difference where you are, and all who are part of your system and that belong, right?
So
Mm.
important to give the place to the person, the system that they belong. Everybody belongs. Everybody has an equal right to belong. How can we exclude the ones that were not being able to incarnate? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to share that is like there for you that you feel like would be good for the listeners to understand? Is there something that you feel is unique to you in your Indian culture that you bring through in Constellation or something,
Okay.
whatever's there for you?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. I think the three orders of love, the orders of love, basically the orders of love, which Hellinger talks about, I just always try to see the orders in each family system. And even though there's a lot of respect for the elders in our Indian value system, and we do a lot of rituals for the departed souls, and
Mm.
everything. These are universal problems, and orders of love are disrupted in some way or the other, consciously or unconsciously. I think in almost all families, no matter which part of the world they belong to. So yeah, and correcting those orders, or even speaking about them, or even pointing them out, sometimes makes a lot of difference.
Have you seen, this is just a curious, this is something that's just dropped in after as I've asked this question, because you have a caste system in India, which is more spoken about. I think in some countries there is that, but it's not spoken about. It's kind of just the unspoken. Have you ever seen in a constellation where there has been struggles because someone from one caste
Yeah, you're
has
right. Yeah,
married someone from another, and that has brought division in the family, or
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, See, so caste systems had been banished long time back, and right now there isn't caste system as such. But yes, what you mentioned, when people from different cultures marry each other, then I do see a lot of discrepancies because they're not able to accept the value system of the family into which they are getting married to. And this actually happens a lot. So I do understand when I see that what Hellinger said, it's so important to accept and embrace the values and the ideas and the cultures and the ritual of the family also into which you are getting married to.
Absolutely, because you're not just marrying that person, are you? You're
Yeah,
you're
yeah, and
taking
especially
family.
in India, because here, when two individuals marry, they are not the only people who are getting married. The family is also getting married. And there's a
Mm,
lot of family involvement in India.
yeah.
So these things are very important to see and remember and practice. That
Mm.
you actually honor, respect, and value the traditions, the culture, the values, the ideas of the family you are getting married to. And if you don't do that, discrepancies are bound to happen.
Yes, absolutely. But you've taught me something new because I didn't know the caste system was no longer practiced.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still spoken about, and that's the naivety of our Western mind by those of us who didn't know that it was no longer being practiced. How long ago was it?
So after independence, a lot of things started getting abolished. We also had sati system, where the widow of the person who died would also burn herself in the pyre of her husband.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
these systems, they were practiced for a very long time in India. But
Mm.
right now, because of so many social reformers, and India is also evolving so much, and now there is so much of equality which is being talked about in India, things have changed a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, well, as I shared with you, I have an Indian son-in-law, so I am learning so much about the culture, but I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
that's a bit of interesting information.
Yeah.
Maybe I have never actually asked him that question. So yeah.
For a very long time there, and still right now also, there was this practice of patriarchy,
Mm,
and women were dominated, and made to submit themselves, feel submissive, and all those things happened for a very long time. It still do happen, but right now women, they are becoming more expressive, more vocal about their needs, about their wants,
Mm,
and so it is not so easy to dominate them now as it was in earlier times.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And that's more so since India's become independent, right?
India became independent in 1947, and still a lot of practices continued even
Mm,
after India became independent, because the conditioning was still there, no? And
yeah.
then because of the social reformers and people who wanted India to evolve, a lot of practices started getting abolished.
Ah, okay. Brilliant. It's so on my bucket list to come. It's always been. And when my daughter met her husband, it was like, oh yeah, there's another calling. There's another reason why I can go to India. And for us in here in New Zealand, I mean, we're at the bottom of the world, but there has been a lot of that patriarchy as well over the years. Even though New Zealand was the first country in the world to let women vote, there was still a lot of the British colonial, archaic ways of thinking for a very long time. And yeah, we're pretty what's the word? Women here don't tend to like being told what to do. Pretty progressive, I think would be the word. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And same here. People nowadays women, they don't like to do what they are told. It's like whatever was suppressed in us in our times is now getting more than expressed in the times of our daughters.
Mm, exactly. Yep. And isn't that beautiful? And knowing too, for us, the more work that we do, the freer our children are, which is amazing. Let's see what else is there. What other questions have we got to ask? Has anybody else in your family system experienced constellation?
People who know me in my family system, I think most of them have experienced.
Yeah. So your children and you're married? I'm not sure.
I'm married, I have two children. My children and my husband have not experienced, but they know about constellation work because I keep talking about it. I keep talking about the orders of love, and I never force anybody. Very recently, one of them, two, I think my children have gotten their constellations done once, both of them. And again, I don't, because I don't force them, but I'm open if they want to do it anytime. The philosophies and the science behind it is something which I'm always looking at and talking about. So they know a lot about constellation work that way.
Yeah, yeah. I when I first started, I had my daughters and my mum and my sister and my niece. They came to represent to try and make up some numbers because, to get people to come to my workshop was just like, how do you
Yeah.
describe this back then? It was like, yeah. So they came to that. So they know a little bit there, and I think yeah, it's changed it quite a bit since then for me anyway. And my husband, he hasn't experienced it directly until we went to Indonesia last year. I ran a retreat there with two other beautiful facilitators. We ran a retreat in Lombok, and he came along, and that was the first time that he'd been anywhere near a workshop of mine. So, and he even came to one of my sound baths as well. I do sound
Oh,
healing work, so
wow.
it was a real eye opener for him. Yeah, not
Wow.
his cup of tea at all, but he was part of it. So, and I think like when you have a partner like us, right? They can't help but doing some shifts because there's energy moving within us and within our system all the time. Have you got anything that you want to ask me?
Yeah. So when did you come into this work?
About 15 years ago, when I had a situation in my family with my dad being diagnosed as being terminally ill. And I was lucky enough to meet a facilitator who was running a workshop that afternoon. And so I went to listen and then I got to sit in the hot seat and it changed my life. and I recognized the work. I recognized I'm a seer, so I've always seen and felt stuff, and I hear, so all my senses are like really heightened, which which was which would freak me out because I had no idea of how to work with them. But it made sense to me for the feeling side of things when I was representing, because I also represented in someone else's constellation. And then when I'm sitting there in the hot seat at the end of my constellation, I heard, this is the work that you've been waiting for. You already know it. You just need to learn. You just, I think they said the science of it, but I think meaning the psychology of it, because I came in from an energy medicine side. Yeah. So haven't looked back. And it opened my eyes to my relationship with my dad, and I was really lucky because I got another couple of years with him.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, and there's so many layers to these things, isn't there? The other day I was walking the dog, and I was out there, and because I'm always talking to mum and dad, they've both passed over now, and just finding the gratitude, even though because we had quite a tumultuous relationship in life, my dad and I, but finding the gratitude in another way to bring him into my heart and just knowing that it was all perfect because I wouldn't be who I am without all those things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, I say because I train people in constellations and I say to my students, it's an ongoing evolution. We're all, even though, yeah, I've been doing this for this long, then there's still so much to see and do and learn and there'll be another layer somewhere along the line. It might just be a little one, and that's okay. That's good. Yeah. And then I met I went from that to finding a facilitator here in New Zealand, and she was the only one offering anything like it. And we did a round of training, and I think she only did one round, as far as I'm aware. Um, yeah, and then I just jumped in from there. Yeah.
And who did you learn from?
Angelica Chisholm was my first teacher here
Okay.
in New Zealand. Yeah. So she's in Auckland and she's held the mantle for constellations here for a long time. No longer doing too much work in it, I think. Yeah.
Constellations are wonderful and magical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we go
And
to
they are
an
not meant for everybody. They are very sacred. So people who are looking for entertainment, it's not for them. But people who are looking for real healing and are ready to be vulnerable, are ready to open their hearts to receive constellation work, it works only for them.
yeah, I love how you say that. People who are looking for entertainment, it's not for them. It's a great description because yeah, sometimes people come along for the
So
for the
even
novelty of
when
it.
I invite people for constellation work, I'm extra careful and mindful to check what is this person looking for. Sometimes I call people for because I want this work to become popular and renowned. So I do call observers.
Mm,
But then I'm very mindful. I can't, I
mm,
have to also check the persona of that person to understand whether he's ready for this kind of work or not, or whether he's just coming to oblige me, or whether he's coming because he's looking for entertainment. So
mm.
you have to be very mindful who you invite.
And yet sometimes I'm just taking that word entertainment because sometimes it is like you're watching a movie. So there is an element of entertainment to it in the fact that it can be quite a drama without it being overly dramatic. But there's a whole sense of you're watching something unfold in front of you. Sometimes felt like I'm just, where's the popcorn? Like this is amazing. Sitting here watching this unfold and seeing parts of my own life. This is particularly in the early days. But yeah, entertainment, like if someone's coming along for the right reasons, right? For whether they
Yeah,
whether they have a piece of work or not, they are that they will receive something. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And you know how I realized it? So long time back when I would invite people because I wanted this work to become popular, somebody after the constellation messaged me, Oh, I really enjoyed so much in your constellation. And that was like a ringing of a bell for me. I said, what is there to enjoy? How can you enjoy a constellation? You know, is this person looking for entertainment? It's just what is, that comes out. And you have to just
Mm.
honor that. You have to be very
Yeah,
respectful.
yeah.
Something has to touch you.
Yeah, it's interesting the different language though, because I mean, I would say that I've really enjoyed my day. It's a different.
It brought a lot of meaning in my life, or I
Mm.
had this takeaway from the constellation, or I got this insight from the constellation, something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how can you enjoy a constellation? I don't know. Maybe I am just reading too much between the lines, but I think I have to be very mindful when I invite people.
No, exactly. I think there was obviously something in that. Yeah, yeah. I've had I think that concept of knowing what it is that people want, and yeah, you're right for the reasons, and not coming to appease or
Yeah, and especially because again, that constellation was not like a light constellation where you're just talking about it and just doing some demos, but it was a very intense constellation which had happened where almost everybody was teary.
Mm,
So maybe this person's constellation happened when she talks about I enjoyed, maybe she's not in connection with her own emotions.
yeah. And sometimes we can enjoy it because it's shifting something within us.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, like you say, not in connection with your
It
emotions.
depends upon what kind of a constellation it is.
Yeah.
So maybe when the constellations are light, or maybe when the constellations are just giving you insights but not touching your emotions. So maybe
Mm.
that is the time when you can enjoy it. But if they're touching your emotions and if you are becoming emotional yourself, then I think enjoyment is not the right word. Maybe you can use some other word.
You know, when we were in India and I did my presentation with the mountains and the rivers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I know that the Ganges is considered the mother. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
ever use the Mother Ganges in your constellations?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've not ever got it, but I was really very touched by your constellations. And I really loved your constellations. I think this is a better word, loved your constellations. And especially the sound with the uh,
The drum. Yeah.
drum that you did, it was doing something to the soul.
Yeah, definitely.
It touches your soul. This kind of a constellation actually touches your soul.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that I got to experience your constellation.
Thank you. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. It was a really great experience. And there
Yeah.
as well, having an interpreter, that was another layer of experience, wasn't it? Having
Yeah.
someone interpret us
Yeah.
into Spanish. Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful. Let me just share a little bit with you about my drumming on that note. Um, so I never wanted to drum. The
Hmm.
drumming was never something that as a child, I'd been able to play on my cousin's drum kit and I loved that. But the concept of using a hand drum, a shamanic drum, or whatever you want to call it, because I was hiding from my own gifts, I was in denial of the gifts that I had. The field, I woke up one morning and I had been told, the field told me in my dreams, spirit told me in my dreams, whatever you want to say, call it, that I had to make a drum. It's like, I just woke up and I was like looking at my ceiling going, I don't want to make a drum. That's the last thing I want to do. But it was a very insistent voice that it's the one voice, yeah, it's the voice that I don't argue with. And well, I don't win if I argue with it anyway. So I made a drum. I got someone to come up and make a drum, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with drumming. I fell in love with drum making, the whole process and the feelings that are in my body when I drum. And I can see it opens the field for me. I see more layers. I drop into another space. And so, yeah, now I'm totally into drumming, and anyone can pass me a drum, and I won't run away.
Wow,
Yeah.
I never knew you also make a drum. That's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. So I
I
call
would love to buy a drum from you.
I call myself a drum doula. So I make drums I teach people to birth a drum because when you make a drum, it's a whole process to make a drum. And it's a beautiful process.
Yeah. So if I get to come to New Zealand, I will inform you beforehand and I'm going to buy one from you and also
Yeah,
learn how to
you could come and make one with me. Come and make
play.
one with me.
Oh, that is
Alexandra Finkelstein, she came and made a drum with me. Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, so the drum that was used at the conference, that was one that she had made with me. Mm.
Wonderful. I
Mm.
just pray to God that I'm able to come to New Zealand, make a drum with you, learn from you how to play it.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Yeah. Just setting the intention.
Yeah, beautiful. That would be beautiful. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, because I
Yeah.
know that you do a lot of work online as well as
Yes.
you do it in person and you do workshops and stuff. How would someone get in touch with you? I know that you've given me your physical link, so we'll put that in the
Yeah.
information. But if someone was listening to this and
They can WhatsApp me on my number and they can mail me on my email ID.
yeah, and you have Instagram, Facebook.
Yes, I'm there on Instagram. I'm learning to become active on Instagram. I was more active on Facebook before, but now I'm switching and I'm becoming more active on Insta. So I've got in my Insta account, I've got my Facebook account.
So how will they find you on Instagram? What's your
Oh,
title?
my name, Chayanika Bhiwaniwala. It's a very unique name. And just typing my name, they'll find my account.
I'm just looking at the way your name is spelled. Aniwal by Aniwal.
Bhiwaniwala. Bhiwaniwala.
You say it so fast. It's very similar. The last bit is very similar to Aniwaniwa.
Okay,
Wow,
I'll say it
Aniwala.
slowly. Just say it along with me. Bhi,
B
wa,
wa
ni,
ni
wala.
wala. Bhiwaniwala.
Excellent.
Ah, very cool. Oh, it's been beautiful to chat with you here, and I look forward to those intentions that we've put into the field coming to fruition.
Yeah. And when you come
And
to India, please do let me know. I would love to host you and meet you.
yeah, that'll be amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll make these things happen, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we share in the world. So thank you so much for your time and your amazing energy. Yeah, I've really enjoyed talking with you.
Same here. I loved your energy, and it was a very heart-to-heart conversation. You made me feel so easy, and there's a warmth that just comes out of you and
Mhm.
touches my heart, and I'm so grateful to you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E, .cartwright. Or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.